Welcome back to Chapter 3. We were just talking about realistic job previews and how the better look a candidate gets at a job, the more likely they're both going to persist to stay in that job and be successful in that job. So now we're going to look at some differences between people. Right, so personality. We're going to define personality as a set of psychological attributes that distinguish one person from another. Right? So what do we do with that? How do we measure something like that? Well, one good measure, very popular one, is the Big 5 personality test. So we're going to measure agreeableness, conscientiousness, right? How neurotic are they? What kind of extrovert or versus introvert are they? And what kind of openness do they have? The capacity to entertain new ideas, right? Or just put up with change in general. Right, so agreeableness, the ability to get along with others; conscientiousness, the ability to be counted on to get things done. Right? Are you very reliable? Right? And and then neurotic? Right? Or do you experience anger, anxiety, moods, things like that? Right? Kind of like I mentioned, it's probably not a good job to be a firefighter if that's you. So these are sliding scales again. These are not one or the other. Right, these are continuums, so you can be highly agreeable, you can be kind of agreeable, somewhat agreeable, and so forth. Right, same thing with conscientiousness and so forth. Right, so if you take this personality test and measure your personality, say, well, I'm not very extroverted, right, or I don't score very high in openness. Well, is that a behavior you can control? Is that a behavior you can change? And the short answer is yes. Right, if we think managers and people in organizations should be more extrovert than introvert, they should be more open to change than less open to change. If that's what makes a good manager, they're willing to learn and try new things, then we would like our potential managers to display openness. So if you didn't score very high in there, can you work at it? Can you improve in an area? Yes, right? There's some things about yourself that's difficult to change. How tall you are, even your IQ, right? But you can change your behaviors, and these are certainly behaviors you can change. Agreeableness, right? Do you engage in people in pleasant social conversation? Maybe before a meeting starts, do you greet people when you see them in the morning, right? Do you resist the urge to grouch at somebody because you're having a bad day, right? Those are all areas you can improve in. Conscientiousness, maybe you're not a person who typically dots the I's and crosses the T's, but you recognize that as a weakness of yours, so before you send that email out, you're going to read it over. Before you turn in that study at work, you're going to have somebody proofread it for you. Maybe even somebody outside of work, a family member. Neurotic, right? You can actually convince yourself to worry about fewer things and catch yourself in the bad habit, and maybe you worry about things that haven't happened or aren't likely to happen, and you can actually change yourself there. Extrovert, same thing. It's just a matter of making an effort. Maybe it's not your natural inclination, but you can do it, right? You can get out there and you can make yourself engage more with those around you. And openness, we've already talked about, right? Take the chances, try new things. When something comes up at work where you get a chance to travel to a new place, to try out a new skill, to meet new people, right? You should be the one who jumps up and does it, right? So these are all things, well, if you're neurotic, less neurotic is better, right? But these are all things that measure above average in successful managers. And the good news is they're things you can control. So you should work on these things. So we're probably going to have an assignment here for you to take your Big 5 personality test, right? And then what are you going to do with those numbers? Pick a behavior and make a conscious effort to improve it. What are the activities that are going to happen during a week where you can improve those behaviors so you can slightly start to mold yourself a little differently, more into a mold of what successful managers do? And we'll see how you do with that.